Hello and welcome. My name is Danielle. I'll be your host this evening. Today, we're going to dive into infinite cosmic records, a modality created by Maya the Shaman. And today, we have a very special guest with us. He is a contributing writer, Michael Barrios. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Danielle.
Hi. So I want to say thank you so much for showing up tonight. I know it's a little bit later in the evening and you worked a full day today. So I really appreciate your presence. And before we get started into the book, could you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and where it is you are located?
Yeah, I'm a holistic lifestyle coach and a personal trainer. I'm based out of San Francisco, California, but I work out of San Mateo, which is pretty close. Um, yeah,
I love it. The Bay Area. I actually am from California, so I can definitely relate to NorCal, and it's been beautiful here in Minnesota. So I'm glad we've been able
oh
to
wow,
connect. Yeah.
yeah,
So could you describe, because a lot of people have, heard of Maya the Shaman, and maybe they're just now hearing about Infinite Cosmic Records for the first time. And from having had a few sessions with her now, how would you explain the Infinite Cosmic Records to someone who's never experienced that or can't quite wrap their mind around it when they read about it?
yeah. Well, it's a good question because it's hard for me to describe as well, only because I didn't know anything about it going into it.
Okay.
But what I could say about it is it's just like a remembering.
Mm,
So uh, because you recall and you could see things and you could feel it going through it. So it's like looking at memories and it jogs going into the infinite cosmic records, jogs those memories and you get those emotions and depending on what your intentions are on uh, for this journey, um, you'll essentially get almost past that or get some answers. But essentially, it's a remembering. It's definitely a remembering, and depending on your intentions, it's probably a good remembering.
I love that. And that's actually going to lead me into my next question for you. When you went into the session with Maya and she dropped you into that state and she walked you through the process, what was your intention to for that session?
My intention for almost all our sessions was one is to kind of heal my ancestral trauma. And I know that ancestral trauma would bleed into um, my work, but especially my relationship with my partner and how I'm bringing up our child. And our future children. And and so that was the main thing. It was business oriented and relationship oriented and um, but it was very vague in that sense with the ancestral trauma. Um, and so I'm a holistic lifestyle coach, and in part of being a holistic lifestyle coach, uh, I have to look at a lot of different healing modalities so that I could help my clients.
Hmm.
But I strongly believe that I could only help my clients at the level of where I am, the level of healing where I am. And
Right.
so I knew going into it that there's a lot of programming and stuff in me that I have to heal or kind of address. And so that was also my intention going in.
That's a very strong intention and actually really wise. I cannot wait to hear your doorways. So, actually, when you did set the intention and you were going through your journey, what did it feel like as you were, going through these doorways?
It felt like a dream. It
Okay.
definitely felt like a dream. And there are times where I really loved Maya's guidance because I'm like, am I making this up? Like there's times where, especially in the very beginning, there was kind of a disbelief.
Mm,
But as I settled in and just, Maya will run you through if you're getting nervous. She could tell right away. She'll ask you to take a breath, or I'll say something like, I have anxiety, or I don't feel like I want to walk through this door. And she'll talk you through it. Um, but yeah, it definitely felt like going through a dream. And once I started to relax, um, the pictures became more vivid. The
Ooh,
feelings started to like flow through me. Because at first it felt like you were watching a movie. And then in some aspects, when I like just surrendered, then it was like I was in the movie.
that is so cool. I mean, I definitely relate to that. I've had a session with Maya with the Infinite Cosmic Records, and I myself am very visual, but sounds like you have it a little bit more clear than I did. So I can really understand how that would help you um, to transition from the logic to just surrendering, and it's almost like it opens a lot more up for you. I would feel that's so
Yeah.
cool. Wow. So could you tell us about your doorways and kind of describe them? What did they look like, and what was the journey for you? And for the doorways that you did go through, what helped heal you in your current life at this moment?
Yeah. Um, well, in the book, I talk about six doorways. But I've had a few sessions with Maya because of the type of person I am. I just want to go, 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 and try to like fix stuff as much as possible. And um, I mean, an overarching, I think you're gonna overarching theme for me was patience. And so the first door that I went to, I remember there would be the three doors that kind of slowly pop up, and you go to the one that gravitates to you.
Mhm.
And so um, for me, I was in a corridor. It felt like a dungeon type of setting. And um, the first door was kind of like a red hue.
A red what?
And I only went to it because I was nervous. I was like, because I was like, what if I don't see a door? Because Maya will talk you through, and then I wasn't sure like which door I should pick.
Mm.
But for some reason, the red just took my eye. And what happened there was uh, I could barely walk in. Like I think my anxiety took me over,
Wow.
and I think Maya took a little bit of pushing for me to walk through. And once I walked through, it was just completely dark. And so that was the part where I'm just like, I need to like relax. I need to surrender. And that's when the picture started to like kind of unravel. And I ended up in kind of like a outdoor area where people were having a party, and it was during medieval times. And in my head, I'm just like, is this real? Like, how is this coming into my head? And so yeah, and that was my first door. Um, and as I said, like uh, I went in with the intention with about my relationship with my partner, and so that first door was actually she was there. Um, and I'm not gonna give too much stuff away because I want people to read that part. It was a pretty intense and traumatic experience. There was like a definitely like a movie. There was fighting, and there was love, there was romance, and and my title has twin flames in there because I strongly believe that. And as I went through the cosmic records, my partner would show up in different forms.
Wow.
And that first door was her there, and I tried to save her. Um, didn't work out. And what I learned there was the patience and don't chase. And that's kind of, when you're in relationships, um, you should just let happen, let be. And for me, I'm the coach. I've been coaching for over 15 years, and I always want to just help. And that big thing that came out of that first door was um, just surrender and be patient. And what, as long as I'm there, as long as um, I'm just doing my thing, I don't have to force anything. And that theme kept happening because of my impatience and wanting to have a lot of sessions in such a short amount of time. Those same things kept popping up. So that first door was me learning to be patient. And I hope people read that first one because it's pretty cool and pretty not cool at the same time. It's like a movie, definitely like a movie.
I love that. I can kind of relate to that in a little bit, in just a little bit, um, or just a little bit. Sorry, but
Mhm.
it's amazing because the visuals that you get. I mean, once you, like you said, surrender, it just becomes so much more clear down to, oh, you can tell what your hair looks like or what you're
Mhm.
wearing. Did it get that detail for you?
Yeah. When I like it got detailed, I didn't really focus on myself. I think I purposely didn't focus on myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there was, there was, I focused on everything around me, and as like I was saying, surrendered, the scenery just became more vivid. And I was able to pick up, dialogue. I was able to pick up emotions, and that's what
Okay.
I felt was mainly emotions. And in other doors, I was actually able to, because this is my first door, I was able to like slowly see who I was and like what age I was and stuff like that.
That's awesome. I love that. So what was your second door?
So the second door um, was it had a golden knob with moss covering the door, and
That's
and it
cool.
was yeah, and it really drew me in. It was very inviting. um and I walked in, and it was, fields of golden wheat, and I was out in the countryside. um but then that was when I had a lot of anxiety, and
Mm.
um and so I like hightailed it out of the door, and that was my second door. And then that was a weird situation for me because normally I wouldn't have like ran out, but there's definitely something that I have to go back to. And that's why I look forward for another session with Maya, is to kind of go through that door. But the door itself was very inviting. The golden knob, the moss covering the door. It was like, compared to the first door where I just quickly picked, this one was like as I looked at it, it was like inviting. But the feeling that I got inside after I got through that doorway was I felt so anxious.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
where
don't know
the,
why I turned around.
you know what, I understand, and I feel like in that situation, because I mean, they're obviously different because we're our perception, but I feel like there's going to be a very strong healing for you in that door. So I'm excited for you to have your next session. That's an interesting perspective. And when you ended up moving forward, did you just go on to the next door or?
Yeah, just went
Okay.
straight to the next door. And that third door it was a metal door. It had, and it was heavy. I just remember it
Oh
being
wow.
heavy. Um, and when I went through, um, it was so beautiful. It was just green rolling hills, and I could see the ocean, and automatically,
Wow.
um, what came to mind was Maharlika, or the Philippines, and Maya was excited as well because she was the one who actually kind of asked enough questions for me to kind of deduce where I was and the connection that I had. And again, it was the emotions that you feel of that remembering, of
Mm-hmm.
that connection. And throughout all these doors, nature was a big thing for me. Being able to be connected with just the sceneries, I think was a big healing point for me.
Mm.
Um, Currently, I'm in San Francisco. I grew up here, but for 10 years, for the last 10 years or so, I lived in a lot of different states because there's this thing that I felt like I was searching for. I lived in North Dakota for a little bit, went to
Oh,
college out
nice.
there. Yeah. But I love the landscape and the Badlands. And then I lived in Montana and all that green and mountains. And I lived in Washington State and all those green and mountains in the ocean side. So going through this door, I could kind of see why I kept searching because there is that piece of me that was
Mm.
part of um, Maharlika or Lemuria, and so yeah, and so going through that door was so very powerful. And there's um, again, don't want to give too much away, but Angela shows up again, or my partner, and she was in a different form. And
Wow.
so we made a connection there, and um, it was every single session I had was of some sort of connection with her, but also connection with nature, and that ties into what I want to do ultimately. But yeah, that was the third door, and that was the last door of our session. But I had multiple sessions with Maya, and so if you want me to go for the next door.
I was actually going to ask you if you don't mind sharing, if you do remember, because I'm kind of curious. It is a very, you're explaining it so well, and I'm really connecting to with what you're saying, just simply because I've had a session, especially when you brought up the medieval, and
Hmm.
just the feeling, and so that was really cool. It validates me too, because the fact that we're talking about this, and it's just confirmation, um, about how our consciousness can connect to those timelines that we've had,
Yeah,
and how they impact us and greatly in this life. And the healing that we're gaining from this is so uniquely expansive. It's very different than any other modality I've ever experienced, at least, in this particular situation. So
yeah,
I'd love to hear as many as you could share.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And going with that, how that was medieval times where I was, and this time it didn't feel like medieval times. It
Right.
felt like a more ancient time. And I think that's I'm not too familiar with a lot of different modalities in the sense of stuff like this, but definitely spanning so many different lives, and I guess um, and that's what makes it kind of cool at the same time, is because you get to remember those lives that you've had, or at least your soul experienced.
Mm.
And for a lot of us that are just getting pulled by what life is doing to us, and we're not really grounding ourselves, and we're trying to just go to the next thing, we forget that we've been we've experienced so much. And so like yeah, going into the infinite cosmic records, being able to see all of that is just amazing.
Yeah, so very well said. So the fourth door was, so you said the majority of your doors are centered a lot around nature.
Yeah.
Was the fourth door another nature?
Yes, and this one was probably one of the most profound ones. I was in there quite a bit, and uh, I don't really remember what the door looked like. I don't even think I described it in the book, but what I do remember is everything on the other side. And I was definitely in Lemuria, and I was in different forms um, there, but I started out as myself, and um, I saw a lot of different animals. And in the book, I go through the symbolism of those animals
Oh,
a
wow.
little bit more, because this one was the most vivid one, the one that I felt the most connection to.
Right.
And so I decided to go and kind of elaborate more of what I thought. So I saw like a spider, a big spider's web. I saw a deer, and I saw my partner again, but her face was on like a deer. And in that in that scenery, I was in a valley, and I remember and um, running really fast, and I felt weightless, and I felt so free. That feeling is, uh, I don't think I've ever felt that before. And um, I'm a, well, I used to pole vault. So I did pole vaulting all the way up and through college and after college. And if anyone has ever pole vaulted before, you run as fast as you can, you stick it in the ground, you get upside down, and you fling yourself up and over that bar.
Wow.
Um, And when you're good, on the days that you feel on, you feel invincible. You
Mm.
feel like you could do anything because one, pole vaulting, you're not going to have good days every day. And and so when I was running, I felt way better than that.
Oh, wow.
That remembering of that feeling was so crazy for me. And and so I was running for a while, and then I hit kind of a ledge, and without hesitation, I jumped and flew. And that feeling, I mean, that one was way more amazing than the running part. But just both of those things, to feel being free, to feel um, just being in the moment of, I don't know, that weightlessness, it's hard to describe, because it's just like I said, it's all emotion, it's all feeling when you're in the cosmic records. um and we store emotions inside our organs, so that's a big thing where trauma is held, is in our organs. And to go through that feeling as if there's no trauma in your body, as if you did not store anything,
Wow.
um, was amazing in itself. And I think I elaborate more of what happens because I change so many environments. So I go into a valley, and then I'm in kind of a desert setting, maybe even think about Utah and the arches. And then I go into a cavern, and then I like go through that cave and then get spit out, and I come back to the beginning,
Wow.
and I walk back, like it just repeats.
Huh.
And yeah, and that fourth door was pretty amazing.
That's so awesome. I don't even know what to say to that. Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine. I mean, that's something we don't get to feel,
No.
as humans, less alone. Because I mean, even the most clean human that has not a lot of trauma in their body probably can't. Yeah, that's very unique. It almost gives me the feeling that you were possibly like an animal yourself.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Definitely. I definitely was. I definitely was an eagle or some sort of flying creature.
Right.
Um, and I was a tree as well. So
That's
that was,
interesting.
yeah, that was an interesting experience, and it was all within that same door. Yeah.
Wow, you almost experienced multiple dimensions of a reality. within that,
And
like
that's
that
what Maya
one reality.
says.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what Maya says. It's multidimensional with the um in the cosmic records. And so the fifth door, if I could pull it up. The fifth door, I don't remember what the colored door was. I remember it had to be a sliding door. I had to push it. Um, and again, I walk into a green field, um, or kind of hilly area. Uh, and this one was a quick one. I think for the most part, the thing that stood out was I started floating up. And so this is the multi-dimensional one where I started on Earth and then I started floating up, and then I'm somewhere in outer space and I see spheres and I see things floating, and there's like thousands, maybe millions of these little spheres, and I'm thinking that, there are either people in there or spirits in there, souls in there. But the feeling that I got, the knowing that I got, was this was where I chose to become to go to Earth.
Wow.
And the emotions that of like happiness and gratitude that like went through me. And I think on all our sessions, like there's definitely cried, definitely felt like all these different emotions, but this one was um kind of a remembering of, like, I chose this, like I
Wow.
chose to go through this, and that's why I'm here. And so yeah, that was a little shorter door, but it was a very profound feeling, like all of
Wow.
them.
Yeah, no, I thank you for sharing so openly about them. I mean, it's so amazing to hear because everyone's journey is a little different, and I like to hear a little bit of the details because it gives me, I'm visualizing as you're talking. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's really profound. So what I'm getting is that, when you come with intention, you're gonna get your answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be crystal clear. And if you have to work through some things, then that's what you have to do. But the good
Mhm.
news is you you can get to that point from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your overall feeling working with Maya the Shaman? What stood out the most?
I mean, there's it was as if she guided me. Well, one, the way I met Maya was uh, like I can't even remember how I got to Maya.
Oh, really?
Um, but what it was, it felt like I was meeting like a kind of a guide, a mentor, a old friend. Um, and I felt we had a relationship for a long time. It felt at ease with her. I felt safe. The way she would map out things for me, um, because I was anxious the whole entire time, only because, you know, I had preconceived notions, or like, what if, I see like really bad things, or I
Mhm.
was not the greatest of people. And in one of the doors, I was, I don't think I talk about it in the book, but I was a king, um, that killed a lot of people, and feeling what he felt was the worst.
Wow.
Um, and so like, but Maya was able to talk me through it. She was able to break things down, and not only during our session, but she would email me back, and we had email prompts, or we I kind of journaled, and she kind of read my journals, and we kind of went through what it meant, and that helped me a lot. I'm a person that I wants to know, but I mean, going through these sessions with Maya, I learned that I don't need to know everything. I just need to feel.
Mm.
I just, other than, you know, love and light is a big thing that I believe in. And Maya empowered me to be a light warrior. And that's where I started stepping into my own as a coach, because with Maya's guidance and just a short amount of time, I was able to expand my business and um, become a coach that I've never seen before. Someone who uses energy healing with lifestyle coaching and personal training all in one. And so like um, Maya's guidance was is like, I don't know, it was a gift, definitely a gift. I didn't
Aw,
even see that coming.
yeah, they are very empowering. Maya's got that about her where she helps you, well, at least for me, and I'm relating to it because there's like a level of belief that you feel, just because it's like she's so natural about it. It's so effortless.
Hmm.
And then you just can't help but step into your power because she's like, of course you can,
Yeah,
So I love that. And that's really cool because it is connecting your mind, body, and spirit,
yeah.
truly. And to be able to offer that to people is a gift. And so I'm glad you stepped into your light warrior
Thank you.
power. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. So would you recommend this to anybody, that friends, family, and after
Yes.
having experienced this?
No, definitely. And I have. And this is, I feel like if you're open to it, you have to be open to it. But when you do, it's such a profound healing.
Yeah.
If anything, a remembering. And if we remember the good, or if we feel those emotions that we forgot about, that's going to jog anyone's memory to do better. And I think this tool, this modality, Maya in herself, is needed for the healing as many people as possible. I mean, um, I had such a profound experience, and I'm sure you did, and everybody in the book. That's why we're in the book. So yeah, I recommend it to everyone.
You're doing such a fantastic job at explaining this too, because sometimes these type of things are hard to put into words and embody that. And I feel like not only do you eloquently express it, but you have taken it to the physical world and you're transforming your life. Like that is seriously amazing.
Thank you.
It says a lot about, your leadership, but it also says a lot about, Maya creating something
Yeah.
like this and then empowering people who are ready to step into their power and how quickly with velocity that they can move forward. But
Yes.
also if you are, not ready to run so fast, but you're going to have a lot of forward movement, even if you're, everyone has their own pace, but it's just really amazing to hear how transformational this is for you when you actually apply it and you're very intentional. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in awe of your chapter. I mean, I want to read it. I'm in awe of your doorways. I love nature too, so I can relate to that aspect. So let's see. Overall, working with Rada Publishing, how did you feel about that? Did you feel supported, and was it an overall smooth process, or did you have
Yeah.
any?
I mean, other than for me, like it was scary in the sense that you're writing your story and so many people are going to read it. And um, Rada Publishing and the people that helped me, and Maya was a big help for me as well, to in making that, kind of ironing out my words, kind of easing my anxiety, making it super easy to, like, it's weird to say it, but be an author. Like it,
Yeah.
and so it was a very enjoyable experience. And I feel like if anyone has a story to write, to
Mm.
definitely work with them, because it's like I wouldn't have thought that I would be a writer or an author. I mean,
And here you are, an author, and you're transforming into a superhero type person, right?
Yeah,
You're
I
going to
think
be helping
we
a lot of people with this because of the type of work you do. So it's amazing. That's awesome.
thank you. It's the goal.
That is awesome. So, what are your life lessons you've learned having gone through this experience? If you could maybe elaborate a little bit more on that and expand on.
Yeah, I mean, I learned so much, but the biggest thing for me is that it showed me the gifts that I do have, the gifts of knowing, of feeling, and to be patient because we have two sides of our brain. We
Mm-hmm.
have the right and left hemispheres. One's for logic, and the other one's for intuition. And I love learning, but I use my left brain too much, and it shuts down that intuitive, creative side. Um, and I need to balance that out. Um, Definitely have patience with that, and use my gifts
Yeah.
that we all have. And I think going into the cosmic records kind of unravels those gifts or kind of shines them up for you so that you see them. Um, and another thing is just be and just do. I think I was so worried on where I need to go and who I need to be. Um, we're here to, I feel like we're here to just experience the human condition, like all these feelings, and I think if we're leading with love and light, we're definitely going to find it. And so there's a quote that I don't know where it comes from, but love is a boomerang. And so if you throw it out into the universe, it's going to come back at you. And that was a big thing that Maya kept repeating is when you breathe out, right, the universe will give back to you 100-fold. Can't exactly remember what she said, but that's exactly what it felt like going through these sessions with her was whatever I was releasing into the universe, I was getting it back. And so yeah, be patient. We have our gifts,
Yeah.
and give out what you want to receive.
That's awesome. So, what are you currently up to? What's your next project?
So I'm working with different healing modalities that I want to incorporate in a personal training course. So, like I kind of alluded to earlier,
Okay.
um, we could only heal others as much as we are healed ourselves. And I'm not just a personal trainer, but I work within that world. And I see a lot of personal trainers not understanding that we are healers and that if we view ourselves as healers instead of people who, there's a time and place, but we shouldn't be breaking down too many people. And so there's two modalities that I'm really, really getting into. One is biogeometry, which is using energy that is energy that also gets emitted from like sacred sites, like the pyramids and holy water and lords and all that stuff. And Dr. Kareem, he's based out of Egypt. He has a really cool modality called biosignatures. And so I'm working with that as well as I'm currently a Reiki practitioner and biofield tuning, working with tuning forks and going through the different parts of your field and seeing where trauma is kind of stored. But we also see that in posture. So that's what I do as a personal trainer is knowing where your chakras are off through posture, fixing it physically, but also using Reiki and those other healing modalities to kind of get someone feeling level, balanced, and in
I love
harmony.
that. You have me thinking I should sit up straight now. I'm on the couch, so I'm like, "Ugh." But that's really interesting. The tuning forks, how does a tuning, because I'm a little curious because I've had the tuning done before. How does it
Mhm.
exactly find trauma? Do you feel it through the vibration
Yeah.
or, okay.
So her name is Eileen Day McCusick, and she created kind of a system, and there's a chart of she uses years, and you could find out when you're using the tuning fork, you could hear it and feel it on where it's kind of stuck or it changes. And she's mapped out, your age, and the right side is going to be the masculine and the left side is going to be the feminine. So you could map out if it's coming from your paternal side or your maternal side. But yeah, it goes through the sound and feeling.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
That's amazing. So having gone through the doorways and working on healing, your lineage and all this, how has this expanded and transformed with your business? Because I know you mentioned that earlier that it's just
Yeah.
you seem to really have exponentially grown.
Yeah. And so not only does Maya work with you during those sessions, she's actually given me a lot of advice on how to manifest things, and depending on what I'm going through, um, certain books to read. And I was able to manifest clients that are looking for my specific skill set, and then it just grew through referrals really fast. And it was a thing where when you step into your own and you speak your own truth without holding back, you're very powerful, and people could feel that. And so, like, with my business, it just, especially during COVID, it was a slump as a personal trainer.
Mhm.
And but after working with Maya, after stepping into my own, after doing a lot of work, which I'm currently still doing, um, I was able to kind of get a target audience and then just do my thing.
That's amazing. You are such a great testament to the power of what Maya the Shaman can do. I mean, this is really phenomenal. I just want to thank you for your time tonight.
Oh,
It
thank
has
you.
been awesome hearing your perspective on all this, and I will be sure to link all your information down below so the viewers can know where to find you. And I thank you again, and I look forward to reading your chapter. And everyone, please do reach out to Maya the Shaman if you have any curiosity or you'd like to proceed forward and having a transformation just like Michael did. So thank you, everybody, and I wish you all the best and much success and have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Thank you.